Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to install a couple of Cali raised sliders onto a 2018 4Runner. Never made a video before, so this will be a first, so bear with me. Used a lot of YouTube videos over the years to figure out how to do stuff, whether it's installs or just learning about different products. So hopefully today, whatever I end up doing with these sliders will end up helping you. I'll try to keep it less of a review and more of just a straight install. Here you can see all of the bolts. I believe there's a total of 12 on the passenger side. They're just pretty much snugged up right now. So this one bolt underneath is kind of the defining one. Once that one goes in, the whole thing pretty much starts to get in alignment, and everything starts to go on really easy. So these ones just need to be pretty much tightened up here, and then we're ready to go. The passenger side is almost done. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead and removed those plugs. Second one back here, remove both of them. And it's pretty simple. Once you it took me a while to figure this one out, but once you can see that this hole here lines up right with this hole on the frame plate, you can take your long bolt. I believe it's a 1/2 inch bolt, and the sleeve that's provided. You use your washer, slide it right up in there. So what I'm still trying to figure out is how many washers to actually use on this. We'll try and figure that out right now. Looks like I'm probably gonna need another washer. So anyway, I'm gonna figure this one out and come back to you guys in a moment. Okay, so as you can see, got the first one in. What I ended up doing was using 2 washers on the bottom. That allowed the threads up top to get low enough so that this bracket sits deep enough into the frame hole, so that everything tightens up real well. And then I just used 1 washer at the top. So 1 washer at the top, 2 at the bottom. That seemed to get everything properly in alignment. I imagine that the back one will be the same. Here's everything finally installed. We got both bolts, front and rear, installed. Tightened all the way down, torqued all the way down. And we've got all the frame bolts also torqued down completely. Now you see, as I mentioned, there's a couple of holes that aren't being utilized. I'm not sure if this is the case for all 4Runners or all 5th gen 4Runners, or if it's just the later models or whatever, but as you can see, not every hole is being used. All right, guys, we're back on the driver's side. Now we're about to install the driver's side slider. The first step that we need to do, similar to what we did on the passenger side, is we need to start to remove the emergency brake line bracket. You'll see that right here. And then the other things we need to do is we need to remove the KDSS line brackets. So you'll see the KDSS lines are running along the frame here, all the way to the front. And there's at least 2 brackets that hold that on. So I won't go into a full explanation on why KDSS is what it is or how it works. It's pretty complicated. It's kind of cool in theory as to how it works. A lot of people don't really care for it, but that being said, you don't want to screw up the hydraulic lines that are running all the way around the vehicle trying to install the sliders. So just be careful with them when you're removing them. Again, all the brackets just need to come off the vehicle. All right, so I went ahead and removed the bolts that are holding on the KDSS line brackets. The next thing we have to do is we also need to remove this pump skid plate. So the KDSS pump is sitting behind here. And then there's also another skid plate just off the camera, which I'll show you in a moment, that also needs to be removed. But let's go ahead and remove this one. All right, this guy should just slide right off, just like that. Now you can see the KDSS pump behind there. Kind of interesting if you've never actually pulled the plates off to reveal some of the KDSS system. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take off the other part of the KDSS plates. This one has 2 bolts there, so we're gonna go ahead and remove those. And we're gonna go ahead and set that aside. All right, now we gotta remove a couple of bolts that are holding on this pump here. This is probably gonna be the hardest part of the entire part of the KDSS system that's on the driver's side of the car. So, as you can see, there's gonna be 1 bolt here. There's gonna be a second bolt right here. And then there's gonna be a 3rd bolt, which is towards the top of the pump. This is a silver bolt. It's long. It goes all the way through this big silver bracket here. Or it's actually, this is part of the pump. This big silver part of the pump. It goes all the way through that and into the frame all the way over here. So you don't want to remove this bolt completely. You just need to undo it enough so that it slides free and out of the frame. All right, so got the car back up in the air. The sliders moved almost perfectly into place. Now I just kind of gotta lift them up and onto the frame and start bolting them up. Try and give you kind of a better look at what we're up against here. Again, the slider's sitting on the lift, and it just needs to kind of be slid behind these lines here. This one's almost into place. As you can see, I just need to kind of lift it up off the frame and slide it behind there. And the front is just about there as well. You can see it's kind of resting just in front of those lines. You want to, again, be careful with these lines. Don't tweak them or break them. So just make sure you're not putting too much pressure there. And then again, that'll just lift up into place as well. I know it's kind of dark in there, but hopefully you guys get the point. All right, guys, so it was indeed the front that needs to go in first. It needs to be lifted around these hoses right here for the KDSS line, and just kind of lift it over them and put into place. Then you can start kind of just snugging in the bolts. And as you can see, I've already kind of started on the rear as well, just getting some of those snugged in. That one, once the front is in, this rear just kind of slides into place. most of the bolts are about, halfway, 3/4 the way in. But now it's time to put on these gussets that are supplied with the kit. So you'll notice one of them has a hole that looks like that. The other one has a hole that looks more like this. This one goes towards the rear of the vehicle and actually connects where the brake line, the emergency brake bracket goes. So this will go behind the emergency brake bracket, and then you'll bolt the bracket through this, through the frame plate, and into the frame. And obviously this one goes in the front. So I'm just gonna go ahead and brighten this up a little bit with the flashlight so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So again, the rear bracket goes there where the rear emergency brake mount goes, and the front bracket goes there right behind this bracket for the KDSS line. So again, that bracket goes right there in that hole, and everything buttons up and ties into the bracket that's welded onto the slider. All right, guys, so everything's back on. Driver's side slider is on. All the KDSS lines are back on. The skid plates are back on. Everything's tightened down. I'm a little sweaty. Took a little while. Probably going on 3 hours of actual work. Fiddling with the video and stuff. Probably closer to 4 hours. They said somewhere in between 2 to 3 hours. I think 2.5 is probably about right. Unless you're using air wrenches to, get all of the bolts in, it's just a lot of cranking on the socket wrench. I could have used air tools, but I didn't want to misthread anything or go too fast. So hand tools were the way to go here. So about 2.5 hours of actual work, and we'll take it down now and see how she looks. All right, top plates are on and bolted down. I did have an issue with one of the screws, stripped out the nut. So I'll need to get a replacement for that. But other than that, went in pretty smooth. Any advice for you guys? Go ahead and put the bolt, put the bolt inside each of the holes on the top plate first. Fit that into the holes on the slider. Make sure that all the bolts are lined up, and then go ahead and feed the nut from underneath. That's your best bet. But get all the bolts in first, and then do the nuts all together at once. That'll save you some headaches. All right, here we go, a little walk around. Show you guys the final product. I also have the CaliRaisedLED light bar installed. If anybody's interested in that, great product as well. Enjoy. See you guys around.